Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. It's Clarissa once again, and today's video is all about the basic or minimum requirements for a cabin crew position. Oftentimes people would ask me, how do I get in? Is it okay if I don't have any background in tourism and hospitality? Or is it okay to wear braces, glasses, veneers, or if such things are acceptable? And most of the time they think too that I have the power to hire them. Well, again, no, I am not and was never a recruiter. So today I will be answering or covering the requirements or criteria set by the major Middle East airlines, since that's where I worked before. And by major Middle East airlines, I mean Qatar Airways, Emirates, Etihad, and Oman Air, since they too are currently hiring. And I will try to give you straight to the point, direct answers. If the requirement is simple and easy to understand, they've made everything in black and white. However, I will try to elaborate and clarify some points if I know that it's still a gray area for many. And I do hope that I can satisfy you with my answers, so you will be enlightened and further motivated to submit your crew application. So here we go with the first requirement, the age requirement. Minimum age for all airlines is 21 years old. That means by the time that you join the airline and set foot on the base of the airline, you have to be exactly 21 or more than that. However, they do process your application if you are nearing 21 years old. Say you are 20 and a half or 20 years and 8 months, because it does take time for them to process it. Plus, you still have to undergo a series of screenings, assessments, interviews, and medical exams. Well, when I joined, they were still hiring between 18 to 20. However, they've increased the minimum age because they want to see some maturity and a degree of preparedness from our side, from the cabin crew side, because of course, you're relocating to a different country. As for the age limit, Oman Air clearly states that they are accepting until 31 years old. As for the other airlines, it's quite vague, but from what I know, the maximum age is 35 years old. My former Korean flatmate was 32 years old when she joined the airline, and I flew once with a Greek national who was 35 years old when she started flying. Next is the height and weight requirement. For Oman Air, you have to stand at least 157 centimeters. For Emirates, it's 160 centimeters, but of course you still have to pass the reach test. Either flat or on tiptoes, you have to extend your hand and reach 212 centimeters for Emirates and Qatar Airways, 210 centimeters for Etihad. And this is part of the initial assessment. If you fail to pass this, then of course they will turn down your application. And for the weight, they will check if your weight is proportionate to your height. They will not accept you if you are underweight or overweight. And they will calculate your BMI too. The ideal BMI is between 19 to 24, and you can calculate that yourself as well. And just to let you know that during your employment, that they routinely and randomly check if your weight is still in the healthy and ideal range. Next is the civil status. Is it only for single applicants? Well, airlines generally prefer their crew to be single because of the nature of the job, because you are constantly away and it's quite hard for moms with kids to fly and be away for a long period of time. However, I do know of some women, of some mothers who do that and they still manage. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of married crew joining the airline, and they're not experienced crew. So either single or married, if they like you, they will hire you, and it is not a problem, and I don't think it is an issue. And for single moms or single parents too, it is okay to declare your status, and it will not have any negative impact or weight in your application. Next is the educational attainment. Can high school graduates apply? It is clearly stated that high school graduates can apply. You just have to make sure that your high school diploma is ready, because you have to attach that with your resume. That means too that even if you're still in college, you're qualified to apply, even if you haven't completed your course yet. And of course, even if you come from a different course aside from tourism and hospitality, that is fine too. I have a couple of friends who were still in their second year in college when they applied and got in, so it is possible. But I just want to share that I haven't flown or met anyone who hasn't reached collegiate level. Well, Oman Air does require 2 years in college, so maybe that's something for you to consider too. Maybe you'd want to get more trainings, stay for 2 years in college, because of course that's really an advantage. And your spoken and written English will be assessed too. Of course, you have to pass the English test and interviews just to prove to them that you have a good command of the language. And if you can speak 1 or 2 more languages, the better. And yes, that's really an advantage. How about swimming test? Do you really need to know how to swim? Well, most airlines require you to swim unaided without flotation device for at least 50 meters. And that's part of your initial training. However, at Qatar Airways, for your ditching, you have your life jacket on all the time. So even if you're not good at it, don't get stressed. I'm sure you will get by. Next is grooming, and I know there are a lot of questions regarding this. First, let me just highlight Etihad's criterion, high standard of personal grooming. That is expected of a flight attendant, is to come fully and neatly groomed for every flight. That means we wear full makeup most of the time, and we follow the strict grooming standards of the company. Airlines do have strict grooming standards because of course the crew are their frontliners, and the crew are always scrutinized for their grooming, hygiene, overall appearance, because of course you come face to face with your passengers, and that's why they're quite meticulous in this department. So as for the hair, it must be in your natural shade, or if you want to color it, it should be very close to your natural hair color. It can be 1 to 2 shades darker or lighter, nothing too outrageous or bleach. Well, for me, I used to have lighter hair color with highlights and streaks, but I had to color it back to my original hair color when I went for my assessment. For skin and complexion, I know it's not always possible to have flawless and clear skin. 1 to 2 pimples are okay. Anything that you can conceal, like small scars, pimples, blemishes, just make sure that you choose the right shade of concealer and foundation to cover them up. For severe cystic acne or deep acne marks, well, you might want to heal or treat your skin first. You can go for laser, peeling, or microdermabrasion just to smoothen the surface. And for scars, I know there are a lot of questions regarding this. If it's on the face, scars on the face, if it's thick, red, brownish, keloidal, then that could pose a problem. Frankly, that could be a no. As for scars on other parts of the body, as long as it's not obvious and noticeable, then it's perfectly fine. Remember that you can't put any band-aid or bandage covering to hide them. As for me, I have a small scar behind my right knee or my right leg, and I declared it during my final interview, and they said it's perfectly fine. For moles on the face, if it's quite small, like on the upper lip, cheek, forehead, I guess it's fine. If it's quite big, then I can say for sure your recruiter will assess that, and it really depends on your recruiter and the recruitment team. That goes for birthmarks as well. If it's not too big and obvious, then it's fine. Again, it really depends on the size, shade, location, and total appearance. And as for tattoos, yes and no. Definitely a no for Qatar Airways, no matter how small or hidden it is. And yes for all other airlines, as long as it's not noticeable while in uniform. But of course, if you have it around your wrist, hands, fingers, then that's a no, because of course that will show when you serve your passengers. And for other colored tattoos that show through, like on the arms or back, that is subject for approval. And tattooed eyebrows as well are a no-no. Nowadays, girls go for microblading, so that's okay. And while at it, I have to say too that false eyelashes, extensions are not at all permitted. Next is they want someone who is in the best state of health. So of course, they want to check if you can discharge your duties and perform well without having to worry about any health condition. So if you have hypertension, diabetes, epilepsy, scoliosis of more than 30 degrees, and renal problems, and of course, if this shows in your medical record and history, of course, they will turn down your application. You would have to undergo a series of tests for clearance, like blood tests, chest x-ray, ECG, complete physical exams, and eye exam, dental exam, and even psychological test. Of course, you have to be cleared for all of this, and you would have to update your vaccination record too before you leave your home country. For the eyesight, of course, it is very important to have good eyesight because you will be checking and doing a lot of things on board. And if you're dealing with an emergency, of course, you have to get good visuals. And if you have poor eyesight, it depends on how poor. The ophthalmologist will clear you and assess if that will cause any dizziness, visual imbalances, vertigo, and he will clear you. And of course, if you have stable vision, it's really fine. And you can wear your contact lenses and prescribed specs, and you have to bring the certification with you prior to every flight. I know of some crew who cannot stand wearing contact lenses for a prolonged period of time, especially if the flight is like 8 to 10 hours long, and they bring their glasses with them. And it's really okay as long as you have the certificate or clearance for it and not only for aesthetic purposes. Let's talk about the dental requirement. Of course, they're looking for someone with a very beautiful smile, and it's important to have good set of teeth, but does it have to be aligned? No, I don't think so. For overbite and other cases, it depends on how minimal or severe. For gaps, it has to be on the posterior side, like first, second, or third molars, and you're allowed to wear bridges, crowns, and fillings just to fill the gap. Anyway, when you go for your dental check, the dentist will recommend if you have to go for cleaning, tooth extraction, root canal, or wisdom tooth removal. And if your dental x-ray shows like some infection or pus, then you have to have this removed. You will not get cleared unless you do all of this, because at a high altitude, when you're flying already, it will hurt and it will give you a bad case of toothache. Veneers are acceptable, braces and cosmetic dentures are not. So if you have Invisalign, the clear braces, then you have to take it off prior to your flight. And let me just share with you one fact or trivia. When I went to the open day, I still had my braces on, and it took a lot of guts from me, but I was so determined, so I went. And the recruiter saw me and asked me until when I had to keep it on. And so I told her that it was already due to be removed. So at that time, it was already due to be taken off. I was just waiting for my orthodontist. So when they called me back for the assessment, it was already off. So thankfully, I got through. So there you go. I think that's all about the medical exams. If I miss out something, please do comment it down below. I do read and reply to all your comments, so please write it down. Other things that you have to prepare and submit are the police clearance, NBI or FBI clearance. It depends on where you're from, but you have to show them that you have a clean criminal record. Training certifications. Customer service experience is not necessary or mandatory for this position. You just have to show them that you love being around people, that you're service-oriented, and you can adapt and work under pressure. And you have to show them that you have good interpersonal or strong communication skills. Anyway, as you progress along in your interview, the recruiters have a tool to determine if you are a good fit for them. So just work on your confidence and win them over with your personality. Be friendly, enthusiastic, and wear your beautiful smile all the time. So that's all from me. I hope this helped you in any way. Good luck with your application. If you find this helpful, please do give it a thumbs up. And I would love for you to consider subscribing. So hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell next to it so you will be notified of my new videos. So that's all from me today. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you on the next video.